should slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Into the trench. See Ali be the band.
Good morning. Happy Easter. We are back with another episode of Corner to Cope. I'm here with my co-host, Coach. We are primed for a sweep in the home opener. It's been a long week. But I'm feeling good. The Tigers didn't get off to a great start. Well, we're happy to be back on the East Coast. The West Coast, the second half anyway, was not friendly to us. We got shut out. We got swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Started with a rough outing for Justin Verlander. He got shelled against Arizona. Corbin Carroll had a triple and a home run in that game, along with a couple other unfortunate situations. Game 2, Casey Mize pitched a gem. And the bullpen blew a 5-0 lead. It started with Vest and ended up with Kenley Jansen having 2 rough outings. And then in the rubber match, we get shut out. Skubal does just about everything he can do. I think, did Carroll hit a home run in that game too? Somebody hit a home run in that game. But that was it was Carroll. But that was the only run that we gave up the entire game, and we were not able to produce anything. But we've got it together in the last couple games. Opening day was on Friday. We got the win, and then we got the win yesterday in 11 runs, lots of power, and almost got rained out. We got eight innings and a third into the game, and had to have a nice postponed session. But how you feeling? You feeling better now that we back home?
Yeah, nothing like a little home cooking after some of these guys have been away for a bit too. You combine the WBC that was wedged in the middle of spring training, and some of those guys just didn't really have much of a regular routine, having to bounce back and forth between Lakeland, Houston, and then, the guys that participated in the semifinal and championships had to fly to Miami to finish there. So, yeah, get them settled in, get in front of the home crowd. There was some slow starts between some of the big power guys that we had noted. Some of them came to life. Kerry, more specifically, came to life immediately with extra base hit production and run production in the first 2 games, including a opposite field home run that looked like he just flicked it like a golf club, and it just kept carrying. And next thing you know, it's right in the middle of the bullpen. Like, how did that carry so far? But it's Gary Bonds. That's it for a reason. Yeah, good to see. Parker was credited with a triple, which I thought probably could have been an error because the 2 outfielders were going to collide and hit each other, and they kind of both peeled off the last second, like, yo, CTE. Nope, I'm missing that. It looked like he hit the glove and it ran all the way to the wall, and Parker could have walked to third base backwards. That was easy for him, but hey, he'll take it. He's been consistent. I'm not going to say he's been great, but I tell you, he sure as heck hasn't been bad. And when he gets on, he scores. When they score, they win every game he scores a run in. So that's kind of what I'm taking away from it. Dingler continues to be consistent, and heaven, hallelujah, Colt Keith is absolutely ripping it as a leadoff hitter right now, and with power. So a little home cooking need for some of these guys. So good to see for them coming back.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's definitely a good sign to see what Parker's, Parker contributing. You see, he's bumped up his average to 238. I think it was in the ones going into this game. Obviously, the average is going to go up and down early on, but yeah, if he can get going, that's going to be a big thing for us. Yeah, you mentioned that Colt Keith is in the leadoff position. The batting lineup is quite different than it was already just in the first series. But let's just kind of we got the lineup on the screen, so we'll I just want to kind of break down where we're at with the lineup. Now, I don't know if you recall, but Vierling actually pinch hit for Colt Keith later in the game. Obviously, it worked out in our favor. Probably wasn't. I missed it, but it probably wasn't your favorite decision going into just with how hot Colt's been. But at any rate, that's good. That's good thing for Vierling because he hasn't played a whole lot, which is something that you had mentioned off screen. But nice that he was able to get some RBIs against the hometown team. He's originally from St. Louis. But let's look. So Colt Keith is the leadoff hitter. He's hitting for contact, hitting for power. And you want to have your best hitter at the top of the lineup. So they've already ended the Kerry Carpenter experiment at the top of the lineup. That's how we started the year. McGonigal was initially batting 6th, which I think AJ was just comfortable getting his feet wet. But that's ripped the Band-Aid on that very quickly. He's already in the 2-hole, and deservedly so. He's hitting .333. Gleyber Torres kind of hitting a little lower in the lineup than I would like to see, but he did hit a home run yesterday, so that's going pretty well. And he's been walking a lot too, so he's been patient, but he's been picking his spots. And that put Kerry Carpenter, who's having probably the worst start to the year outside of Torkelson, into the 4-hole. But like you said, poked a home run yesterday. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Riley Green's been quiet, but I think he does have, let's say he's got like 7 RBIs. He just hasn't, I don't think he's yet hit a home run. Dingler, he's got 2 home runs. And I think he came into the game with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. I'm not sure if he has that now, but he hit
one in the first game against St. Louis because he was batting cleanup there too. So he did bat cleanup for the first time I think we've ever seen him. So he was batting up earlier in game 1 too.
Yeah. He's having he's continuing the success that he's had towards the end of spring training because he was actually injured at the beginning. McKinstry hit a home run yesterday. We had a lot of home runs yesterday, honestly. It's been but it's funny because people a lot of times they attest the power surge to be to the weather, but we were on the West Coast where the weather was actually pretty nice. Now it was nice on Friday. So that could have possibly been a factor. But it wasn't all that nice yesterday. So I think we hit, how many home runs we hit yesterday? 4. It was McKinstry, Carpenter, Torres,
and Vierling, right?
Oh no, it's right here. McKinstry, 1, 2, 3, Carpenter.
4. Yeah, they're all right there.
Yeah, Torres and Vierling. Yeah, Vierling hit one. Yeah. Oh yeah, Vierling did hit on him. I think he got an RBI. He had a 2-run home run, and then he got a sac fly or something like that the first time up. But yeah, good to see Vierling back because he had a really, really good spring. So it was kind of odd to see that he didn't, because I think McKinstry got a couple starts in the corner outfield. But you know what? That's probably due to the fact that it was they wanted that righty-lefty matchup. So, but yeah, the biggest thing that I took away from it is seeing Torkelson in the 8-hole. He's had his struggles, but I don't think I've ever seen him that low. He had some. I know he hit one to the warning, at least one to the warning track yesterday. But I think he's kind of been the victim of just some not so good luck. But we'll see. AJ is not necessarily taking it easy with him and giving him that same grace that he may have gotten in years past. If you're not hitting, he could be in the 9-hole. Same thing with Javi. As you can see, you haven't seen Javi, I think he played on Friday, but not having a great start to the year. So, but yeah, my other takeaway so far, Framber has looked amazing. He pitched yesterday on opening day. He's looked like a bona fide ace. We'll get to some of the other things. Oh, Will Vest, man. They pulled up the stats again. 8th inning versus the 9th inning. I don't know what the mental block is with him pitching in the 8th inning, but there's a major disparity between when he's closing a game and when he's setting up in the 8th inning. And it burned us in that Arizona game. I don't know what we need to do. Obviously, Kenley Jansen for the foreseeable future is going to be the closer. So that's something that Vest is going to have to get comfortable with. But yeah, there is a definite difference between when he pitches in the 8th and 9th inning. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of that. But yeah, any other takeaways through the as far as this week is concerned?
Yeah, it's good it was to see the offense come alive and run production. Guys that were off to a slow start, kind of finally get the engine firing up and going. Equally, we have some concern on the pitching side now. We've got a new face that's in the rotation. Kind of teasing right now. I mean, if you woke up this morning and you saw it, or actually it was yesterday. Probably already know that JV is on the 15-day IL for oblique strain dating back to his first start, which was everything forgettable. And Drew Anderson, 3 appearances, 3 absolute disasters, including that game that you mentioned. They blew the 5-run lead. I mean, I don't know what AJ was thinking, having this guy come in with the bases loaded up 5 runs against St. Louis. Like, what are we doing? You saw what he did the first 2 games: walk, hits, earn run, home run. He's given up 3 home runs in 3 appearances. Like, he can't get through a full inning right now. And we paid him $7 million for this.
Did we?
And he's got a club option. And we've got a club option for $10 million next year. This is like,
well, if it's a club option,
you can't get rid of these guys.
It's a team option or a player option?
Well, club is team, so it'll be up to the front office.
Oh, so we won't.
Yeah,
they'll have to renegotiate, or we won't pick that up. Or as of right now.
Yeah, but it's so crazy. This guy hasn't pitched in the major since 2021, I think it was, and we give him $7 million when there are guys out there like Giolito still unsigned. What are we doing? Probably could have gotten him for the same amount between the 7 or 10. Probably wouldn't fine with that. And he actually had a decent year last year. So Drew Anderson, not it. I think he's quickly at the bottom of the bullpen barrel, if you will. Maybe AJ's got to get vested some 9th inning chances. He's never really tabbed a closer since he's been the manager. Everyone's kind of all pitched high leverage, 7th, 8th, 9th. So I think you've got to mix and match it and find where your strengths are to utilize those. Because like you said, you just can't keep rolling Will Vest out there at the 8th inning if you know he's going to religiously blow up, or like you said, the mental block aspect of it. Mm-hmm. You're sending him out to the guillotine, knowing that that's going to happen. Like, that's not, we're sure not fair to the player, but that's just bad management. Like, your stats should tell you, okay, this is not working, and here's the most recent numbers to prove it ain't working. But I digress. It's still a little early, but overall pitching health and attrition, I'd like to see some stability going forward, and also hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks we get some good news about Troy Melton, because boy, we could use him about right now.
Yeah, we could. He's definitely would be a better option than Drew Anderson at this point, but we'll see. Let's get to the first break, and then we'll see what we got on the other end of that. All right, so you kind of alluded to a little bit, but we already have our first first injury and first roster update. Just kind of give us a recap on what that is. Yeah.
So it of course, he pitched earlier in the week against Arizona and did not go well. And a few days went by, and they were practically already home back here in Detroit, getting ready for game 2 against St. Louis, when they made the announcement retroactive to that start that he has I believe it was an oblique injury. So he's on the 15-day IL, so he will miss.
His hip. They say it was his hip.
Hip, yeah. There's something in his oblique, his hip there.
Around there.
So it's 3 starts, almost guaranteeing 3 starts, because he's missing what would be tonight on Sunday Night Baseball, plus 15 more days. So I think up to 4 potential starts, depending on the schedule, he'd be missing. So with that, they recalled Kaiser Montero, who had been sent down to minor league camp, kind of with 2 weeks left to go in spring training, to kind of get stretched out as a starter. But he was with Venezuela for WBC and was starting, and boy, he pitched a gem in that semifinal game to get into that championship game. So I think he's pretty much almost ready to go. I think they were just trying to get him stamina-wise back up to traditional starter pitch count for this kind of reason. So, 4 months ago, man, our pitching rotation and depth looked great, but it's taking a hit early. So hopefully these guys can step in and provide some stability going forward. But yeah, JV on the 15-day IL, retroactive to his first start. No ceremonious or nostalgic start for him on Sunday Night Baseball tonight, but it's going to be cold.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait on that. Somebody posted on Twitter like, why is our 41-year-old pitcher who is crouching for the opening, the ceremonial open pitch like that for Brandon Inge, if he's injured. So yeah, that was interesting to think about, because at the time we didn't know that he was going on the IL, but he'll be all right. I kind of figured, I don't know, it just seemed like something was up with him. He hasn't looked good at all spring. So hopefully he can come back better than ever, and we can get that home opener out the way and all that. But in the meantime, we got Carter Montero. He's pitching tonight. And he's our bulldog. He always, he doesn't, he's never, he's always on the outside looking in as far as the starting five rotation, but he always steps in and gets the job done. So, pulling for him. Hopefully he can have some good starts while he's up. But let's get to the minor league, down on the farm. Now the high and low A and the double A teams actually just started this weekend, but the triple A team has been, well on the way. The most, the player that's having the best, the best current start to the season is Max Clark, who has obviously, had a lot of scrutiny over the spring, but didn't have a good spring, had some issues in the outfield. I feel like I've been seeing more mishaps in the outfield than I've ever seen. I mean, even in that Cardinal series, even in this Cardinal series, we've seen some mishaps, but I don't know what to make of that. But at any rate, Clark, I had this pulled up, but I think he's got, 5-6 extra base hits. He's hitting for some good average. He's played some really good defense as well. So really encouraging to see him hit the ground running the minute he got to AAA. Let me see if I can pull this up.
I got that image I sent from last night up.
Yeah, I thought I had saved it.
Yeah, slash fine's good. He's getting walks.
Was that on Twitter?
Extra base hits. Yeah.
What site was it? I mean, what
I have a screenshot. It's from at Nick Kohlhoff, Kohloff.
KO.
Yeah, and he's got 3 stolen bases, which is one more than Parker has, who leads the parent club.
Oh, here we go. I got it.
But yeah, he has answered the criticism bell of too much jewelry with the play on the field.
All right, so we got another here. So yes, it's Max Clark is straight torching at AAA, pitching through 7 games, 346, 471 on base, over 1,000 OPS, 5 doubles, 7 walks, 2 Ks and 3 steals. So, good to. It's encouraging. It's something to look forward to at the end of the year, because we all know that if he continues in this, continues this trend in any way, he's going to be looked at as somebody that can help us contribute down the line. It's going to give us some flexibility. We'll be able to trade off some guys like maybe a Wenceel Perez, maybe for the right value, or Vierling or somebody. And Parker, we'll see how Parker fares. But yeah, I mean, I think the fact, seeing the fact that, he knows that the team is willing to put the best players out there. Kevin McGonigal made the team out of camp. That's his right-hand man. So I think that is lit a fire for him too, that it's like, okay, this is real. This is a possibility. But outside of that, Wenceel Perez is having a good start. These stats are retroactive to before yesterday's game, so they may be a little bit different. But right now, Wenceel Perez is hitting 300 with two home runs and 4 RBIs. He was 9 for 30 going into the game. So he's another guy that, he hit a home run in his last spring training game when he was supposed to be, or 2 home runs, right? Against Colorado. So yeah, he, the minute that he was assigned to AAA, he immediately started hitting. So, expect to see him first injury or the first demotion. He'll be the first one up, in my opinion. Corey Jokes, he's already got 7 RBIs. He's hitting 318 with an 832 OPS. He's continued to play well. Now, the players that have struggled early on, Trey Cruz, Young, Valencia, although Valencia hit a home run yesterday. Yeah, those guys have started slow. We talked about Max Clark playing good defense. And Gage Workman, he was one of our better AAA players 2 years ago. Got selected in the Rule 5 draft. The Cubs cut him. He came back to Detroit. But he's hitting 381 with 1 home run and 5 RBI. So yeah. Other than that, it's going to be different watching the Whitecaps this year. The team was really stacked last year with Lorenzo and Briseño and Clark and McGonigal and Pacheco, all those guys. Jack, that they were really stacked. But most of our talent is in AAA right now, and we're in the process of replenishing some of that, that new talent. Obviously, Troy Melton was in that mix last year, and a couple other guys. So it'll be interesting to see who emerges and see if the team is as good. Not the Whitecaps, Erie. Well, Erie and the Whitecaps were really good last year. So
yeah. Both of them set records, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of wins and how early they won or clinched their division. They were cooking, both of them.
Yeah, they were both, super dominant, which is no surprise because, we had a lot of our young studs on the team. But that pretty much wraps it up for the minor league. Let's transition to down. I mean, we just did it down on the farm. Let's transition to around the league. Anything? I have one major thing that I definitely wanted to touch on, but anything outside of that that's caught your eye around the league?
It's we didn't think much of it. We mentioned last week the Guardians chased DeLauder. We might have all top rookie of the year candidates in the division this year between McGonigal, who's kind of cooled down a little bit. He's still giving great quality at bats. He may not be going 3 for 4, with 2-3 doubles and any of that crap, but he's getting walks deep into pitch counts. He's still seeing the ball really well. But DeLauder's got 5-6 home runs, and Murakami has damn near hit a home run in every game he's played in here for the White Sox too, and he is off to a hot start himself. So maybe the AL Central is not going to be a total pushover this year. You got some guys that we noted last year, including the White Sox Chase Meridoff, the guy killed us. A small little, I think, middle infielder, white dude, was just ripping the ball over the park against us. And we already know that Stephen Kwan's a Tiger killer. So it's all right, well, let's get some run support for these guys, our pitching staff. But not too much else. Joe Adell last night had 3. He could have had a highlight reel of his own of just home run robberies at the wall last night. He had 3 that he took away in a win. Impressive over there. Other than that, Byron Buxton took a hit by pitch the other day and left immediately, went right into the dugout and went right down to the tunnel. It was his back right hand. It was a ball that was coming up and in, riding up and in on him. Pause. That struck him, couldn't get out of the way of. So that'll be interesting too in terms of development, because to your point, right before we went on the air this morning, they're down another quality pitcher to TJ, and that just pretty much leaves Joe Ryan leading that staff. So Kansas City's leading the division right now. Of course, obviously less than 10 games in. So, but I kind of had a feeling that they would be the one team in the division that would give us some trouble considering their lineup, and they have a couple decent pitchers. So Still a little early otherwise, but it was funny. You know, we left Arizona, came back home for St. Louis, right? Well, the Braves came in and played Atlanta. They dropped a 17-burger on the Diamondbacks the very first game. I'm like, it's more than the runs we scored the whole damn series. And they did one game, and they just blew up their bullpen. So that's the kind of offense that I think we saw, especially yesterday. We kind of like to see they've already scored 5 or more runs. I think 5 of their 8 games so far, including 2 being shutouts, which I think they're the first team to be shut out twice already. So they've been up and down, but not too much else around the league right now. Everyone's still getting settled in and maybe starting their first long road trip of the year. So we'll get a better beat, a better gauge here probably by the end of April after about 35, 40 days.
Absolutely. And I want to catch up on MC the Detroit fan because he's got some interesting topics to talk about. He was asking about how you can manipulate the extra year of control. What it comes out to, he said 13 games. It may be 13 games. I know it comes up around 2 weeks. McGonigal, if McGonigal wins the Rookie of the Year, I want to say we get that extra year of control regardless. But obviously they're not really worried about that. I know they sat down. They sent down Connor Griffin, which we thought was possibly to do the same thing, but it looks as if he has an extension ready. So that's not going to make a difference. He said, "I'm wondering because I saw an article saying McGonigal could get an extra year." Yeah, and you know McGonigal is in talks, possibly in talks as well. It's a trend that we're starting to see. I'm going to pull something up for you guys. He said, might do that with Clark. Yeah, I mean, I think we're not going to see Clark. We're not going to see Clark until the second half of the year, so we don't have to really worry about that. He says, Scott Harris got to see kids in Toledo hitting well and call them up, especially if guys here keep struggling, mainly looking at Parker Meadows if we're considering Max Karkov. Yeah, they'll wait on that. I think Parker's definitely doing enough to hold us on. Let's pull this up right here. So the hot trend right now has been locking up some of these young prospects to long-term deals before they get too expensive. And a couple of these guys have not touched the major leagues yet, and some of these guys haven't performed great, super, really good in the minor leagues. Cole Emerson hasn't made his debut yet, but he just got an extension. Cooper Pratt is only hitting like 250, I think, in Double-A. So it's kind of a cheap deal, but it's a good deal for him because he gets guaranteed money, with him possibly being a glove first guy. So, if you can avoid, having to wait out, those years, those arbitration years and get a semi nice bag now, especially while you're young and you'll get another opportunity before you retire. So it's a pretty good deal for him. But yeah, Samuel Basallo has signed an extension. Roman and Anthony signed up a pretty nice one. Christian Campbell started the year last year with Boston, but he's kind of struggled, but he got a nice deal as well. Pete Crow Armstrong, he's kind of been around. And Nico Horner got an extension as well, but he's another guy that's been around. But yeah, Connor Griffin is deals on the table, and Jackson Churio was kind of the first that I remember. But what do you think about it? Do you think? I mean, it's kind of a foregone conclusion, but do you think it's good for baseball? Do you think it helps those smaller market, cheaper teams like the Brewers, like Seattle, who's cheaper as well?
It's a way to control like salary long term, essentially is what that is. Because let's be real. I mean, Scooble's win of his arbitration case is the reason why this is now pop. Because you're right. How many times we ever seen a kid, unless he was drafted right out of high school, like a Bryce Harper, a true generational 20-year type player talent, that if you see him once in spring training, you're like, there's nothing that's bad that we don't like. You know what I mean? So why not? And to the point that MSU Detroit fans making about, like we did with Cole Keith. Man, that Cole Keith deal right now is looking like a diamond in the rough because look at the averages of these AVs that these guys are getting now. It's well over $6 million. He was 5 years, $30 million, or 6 years, $30 million. So between $5 and $6 million average a year. These guys are making double that. And that's a large reason, I think, to why, the school winning $32 million was such a big deal in terms of precedent for arbitration cases. Is why would clubs want to risk, okay, yeah, year 1, 2, and 3, you might be getting them for that 800, 1 million, 2 million, whatever it is per year. But as soon as they explode and they start to get really, really good, man, forget that. Add a 0 times 1.75. Now you're looking at 15, 20, 25 million, which is way over what you would normally have for your average guys that go through all 6 years of arbitration. So I think it is a good thing that not your top 10 traditional spenders in terms of payroll can do to help. And frankly, with these kids coming out of, leaving college early between 18 and 20 years old, dude, they don't have to sweat it out in the minors like they used to in terms of saving all that money. Their spouse has to work a job on the side. Maybe, someone helps with the baby. It's tough being a minor league ball player. For years, it was, these guys would work, they play obviously and earn, but they would work a job on the weekend when they weren't playing or midweek when they didn't have a series. They'd drive for Uber. Like, they're doing whatever they can to survive, to keep that dream alive. Like, it's a real mental grind. So it's good for them. It provides some stability. And frankly, a lot of these kids deserve some type of, and look, these are all fairly like trade friendly terms, to be honest. Yeah, the years is long, but it's not school like we're talking 8 for 400. We're talking 8 for 100. Well, more manageable in that case. And frankly, they can still get another bag from another team. Like you said, they got 2 years left. The other team doesn't want to chip in to pay for their salary. Well, they still are on the hook for that salary no matter what. The other team go sign and pay them whatever they want. Because right now, Max Scherzer's getting paid by 3 or 4 different teams right now in his, nth year in the league. But that's the beauty of baseball contracts. But without getting too much further into it, we won't know what that'll look like with the new CBA for next year. We'll save that for another time. But overall, I think this is really good for the mid to smaller market teams, because the A's did a little bit of this last year too. If you remember, they locked up some players at some fairly good team terms. So I think overall it's good, and hopefully we won't see ticket prices skyrocket 250% again.
Yeah, the A's, they've locked up Rooker, Butler, Soderstrom, a lot of their core for sure. I don't know if Wilson got paid yet. He might have, but
I thought Kurtz might have got an extension.
I don't think yet. I think he's going to hold out. Because he was, as a rookie, he was a silver slugger. But that actually kind of parlays into my next point. That parlays into my next point about the slow start, including Nick Kurtz. He, going into the day yesterday, was hitting 0.48, and a couple of your top players in the major leagues have gotten off to really slow starts, haven't even hit home runs yet. Ohtani, Ronald Acuna, Vladimir Guerrero, Bobby Witt, Ryan Tucker, and Julio Rodriguez, amongst others, have had a very slow start. I mean, we're talking a very small sample size. Water will, meets his level. I'm not concerned about it, but I know some of those, fantasy drafters are, already tripping out because these are top picks, guys. All these guys can go in the first round. So, just something to keep an eye on. Obviously, the Tigers have been up and down with the bats, but they've found a way to get things going. So hopefully we can get a sweep, a sweep tonight. So you definitely want to tune into that. But let's get into our final break, and then we'll come back on the other end and talk probables. All right, who do we have coming up in the next couple series or next couple games?
Yeah, so we have a full week this coming, through this homestand right now. They will not get any days off until the following calendar week, not this coming week, but the week after. They travel to Minnesota, their first divisional opponent of the year, for 4 games. And boy, it's going to be cold there as it is in the Midwest, probably until midweek. So a lot of what we saw in the Toledo Mud Hens, guys wearing extra layers of gloves and full-on ski masks to stay warm. It's going to be like that the next couple of days. But It'll kick off with Casey Mize, first of 4 in Minnesota against Joe Ryan. Scooble on Tuesday against Taj Bradley. Wednesday will be Framber against Bailey Ober, who I forget is still in the league. And the matinee matchup, Flaherty against, I think it's Junk. The guys, Mick Abel. Junk is with the Marlins, who's coming up this weekend. They come to town Friday through Sunday. Those matchups Friday will be Montero in place of Verlander against Chris Harris's boy, Chris Paddock. If we don't score 8 off of him, we got problems. And Saturday, Casey Mize against Jason Junk. And Sunday, the matinee, probably other than Casey and Joe Ryan on Monday, tomorrow night, I think the matchup of the week has got to be that Sunday game. Scooble against Alcantara, 2 Cy Young horses themselves. And I know I told you offline too that they had a stat yesterday that Alcantara had the 3rd most complete game shutouts behind only 2 other whole teams in the last 5 years. So he had bounced back, I think 2 years ago from TJ, was having a decent year. Actually was having a great year the year he got hurt. So they almost moved him this offseason and trade deadline. They were close twice. So who's to say that if they continue to struggle this year and he's having a good year, they would look to move him to continue replenishing their system. They do have some guys that kind of gave us troubles last year, including Junior Caminero. So that'll be an interesting series to round out the week. And then I think they'll be getting into a little bit more divisional play going forward. But, we have, I think, that makes 13 straight days early of contest for Detroit.
All right, let's see what MSU Detroit fans talking about. He said the lockout is incoming. He said, I know it's off topic, but I'll be more surprised if there isn't a lockout. No, I think that's all but certain, right? Then they say that it's for certain.
Yeah, I mean, with the CBA expiring, it's going to take time for these lawyers to write up all the verbiage of the contracts, and that's before they agree to the terms. So yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, the conservative side says there probably won't be a season at all, but I mean, hopeful that maybe we'll only lose a quarter if they really get on their horse and start the ball rolling early. But obviously, the biggest things are going to be salary cap and floor, and if that salary cap is going to be like a hard ceiling or like a soft cap, like the NBA has it with the luxury tax, basically. Technically, MLB still has a luxury tax, but it's very loose and it's not. It doesn't necessarily hurt those teams that go above that threshold that would have to pay that tax. All the deferment money and everything, it looks big, and then you realize, they're paying them over the next 15 years. It doesn't really count to the salary. So, like JV, he's getting $2 million base with us, but he's getting another $15 million over the next 8 years. So it doesn't really mean much. But there's definitely gonna be a lockout of some type. There won't be anything on time next year for sure. So I just hope that they don't, they get it done by like the middle of the summer or something, and then they'll go from there. But yeah,
he says on something on topic is when Melton and Job supposed to be back. I think they said August for Job. Melton's on a 60-day. If he stays on schedule, you said, I think we talked about it. You said by May, you think, for Melton?
It was like mid to late May, somewhere right within or before Memorial Day, right within that week is what it would be like, just numbers only, assuming he clears everything and everything stays on track.
He said, I've been a Carter Montero apologist, but when with JV being old, I would like to know when we get Melton. Okay, like both those guys. Yeah. I mean, Harris sounded pretty confident about seeing Job this year. And we just kind of touched on the Melton topic. So we'll see how Carter does. We'll see. Okay. The MLB luxury tag isn't anywhere near the NBA one. If the NFL can't have a cap, there's no reason for the MLB can't. I mean, they're throwing a lot. They're throwing a lot bigger contracts in the major leagues. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and let's be real. MLB has had the most player-friendly contracts probably in the last 15 years, even more so over. Yeah, you see more big contracts, max deals in the NBA for your star players, sure. But baseball, man, you could have a mid-year and walk away with like 4 years, 110 million, and you might only make 180 for your whole career, but 80% is that bag right there because
and it's all guaranteed.
There's just so many teams. Yeah, I mean, and that's not counting what they want to give you as a signing bonus. So they got guaranteed money and signing bonus, which is like a double down blanket of security. Like, oh, okay, here's 4 years, 100. We're going to give you 25 a quarter as a signing bonus, and another 50 is guaranteed. So you're up front $75 million right off the rip. Whereas NBA players max out like 4 years, 200, and they can still renegotiate and all that. But yeah, it has been kind of crazy though. Some of these baseball contracts, like talk about Skubal and Vladdy got 400 mil right last year in his extension. Like those are some crazy numbers because there's some organizations that are maybe only worth $400 or $500 million themselves.
All right. So yeah, as we look ahead, we got the final game of the Cardinal series, and we head to Minnesota for 4. And then we got the Marlins next weekend. First of all, what is your biggest concern at this point? Probably something that we've already talked about, but what would you say is your biggest concern?
It's the pitching attrition, the health of the overall pitching. I mean, yeah, sure, Verlander going to IL isn't necessarily the end of the world or anything compared to when we lost Joe last year, but you know, we were without Melton, we're without Joe Reese Olson. We haven't heard anything about him. You know, there's a chunk of what was supposed to be either the back end of the rotation or primary help off the rip. And we're already down a handful of those guys. So to your point too about the Will Vest thing, I think Hinch has to kind of reapproach that high leverage 7th through 9th innings and figure out a better combination. And like, look, you know, unless Jansen's got something in his contract where he wants to pitch X amount of save opportunities for an incentive clause, then his hands are kind of tied, which is silly that you'd have to manage your team around a clause in a contract. But that's kind of where we're at in today's age of professional sports. Everyone's trying to get the extra bread. But yeah, just stay healthy, get some consistency out of them. You know, like Flaherty's got to go deep. That was a rough. I mean, I know we've been on him last year too of just not being efficient enough, but I'm at that point where it's like, look, he's a 2-pitch pitcher. I know he's got technically 4 in his repertoire, but he throws 2 of them less than 8%, 7% of the time. That might be a couple pitches per game, and that might not even be every game. So you're fairly predictable. I mean, you look at Tommy Kahnle was a 2-pitch pitcher the other year. If once one pitch starts to go, you become very predictable, and they're just going to sit on the one that is working because the other one they're just going to keep spitting on and watching it go by. But yeah, Flaherty, 3 walks, 2 hit by batters in 4 innings in his home start or his last start, 92 pitches. Like, yeah, we need you to go 5 innings, man. Like, it can't be a bullpen day every time Flaherty comes up. Like, we need you to go deep, man. You got to be a little more efficient with pitch count, but. Yeah, I mean, the offensive stuff has solved itself for the most part. I think McKinstry or someone else had a stolen base along with Parker's too. So we're finally getting some base path havoc out there. Yeah, just the health of the pitching. I think everything else so far is right in line or within reason.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride for Flaherty so far. As you can see, he's got the 7.56 ERA. Yeah, I think that the JV injury wouldn't be as worrisome if it wasn't for Drew Anderson starting off so slow. Because you know we do have a little bit of depth as far as long relief is concerned. But outside of that, hopefully we can keep the bats going because they seem to have woken up some. And yeah, you kind of covered it. The bullpen. You know, Jansen, we know Jansen's good for at least one rough outing. He pretty much had a pretty clean, seamless season last year, but the Tigers did touch him up for one. So hopefully that Arizona series was kind of the outlier and he can get back going because I do think they want to make a conscious effort to give him as many save opportunities as possible because he's coming up on on a milestone, but they're not going to sacrifice too many losses due to that. Like that becomes, a secondary issue once he starts blowing saves out here. So, we'll probably see some more Finnegan, because I feel like Finnegan's been quiet.
He's had like 1 or 2 appearances, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's early and we got a bunch of games in a row, so he's going to get some opportunities. But 4 game appearances. 4 appearances, 0 ERA. So yeah, he's looking good so far. Velocity's up. Yeah. So another guy, another pitcher that in our back pocket that they will get a lot of high leverage situations, especially if Vester or Jansen are struggling. So, yeah. Anything else? Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Do I have any other comments or anything? Subscribe to the channel. We're here every Sunday breaking down a week in Tigers baseball. We'll obviously have a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll have the final game of the opening weekend to discuss, as well as the first divisional series. Hopefully we can take at least 3 or 4 against the Twins, who have, I'm not sure how they've started. Twins are, oh, come on, how they don't have a record on that?
We're all within like 2 games of each other, I think, in the division.
They're 3
around 500. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 3 and 5. And then we'll also, not only will we get a chance to see Chris Paddock, we'll also get a chance to see Austin Slater. I think he's the starting outfielder for the Marlins, if I'm not mistaken. So a couple of familiar faces, but subscribe to the channel. We're here every week. Any upcoming breaking news, we'll give you a short. Check out the player profiles. We got Kevin McGonigal out now. We got Max Anderson, Drew Anderson as well. So plenty of content to keep you guys busy until the next time you see us. And enjoy the rest of your Easter, and we will see you next week.
Get your lick back. If a nugget do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat.